TitleMatchNetwork.com.
Thoughts on Bruno Sammartino and Vince McMahon's relationship?
Well, I got a little bit of that because Bruno was doing shows when I first came here. I don't think I saw Bruno in more than maybe a dozen matches, but he was doing some color on TV, and of course, I mean, he was bigger than life. But he did not like the way that Vince was taking the business. He blamed Vince for a lot of the things that were happening in the business. Hell, steroids were being taken in this business, in football, in other sports, and just by bodybuilding, long before it was even heard of here.
Right.
So, I mean, it was old hat, and Bruno was very, very adamant about the direction the company was taking. He thought it was going to ruin the business. Too many people knew too much.
All right. What are your thoughts on the lack of kayfabe in the business today? You think it hurt the business, or you think otherwise?
I think it did. I think it did. But take a look at the subculture that's been developed by
reality.
Huh. So,
you think the business could ever go back?
Could it? Oh, I think it could. I think it could. Pretty tough now, though. We smartened up the wrong people.
Right.
We should have smartened up the TV people, not the fans.
Right.
I think they would have liked it better that way, too.
Without a doubt. True. What are your initial memories of conversations with Vince again?
When I came back?
When you came back.
Oh, they were great. You know what? We didn't talk about the old days either.
Huh.
We talked about the future. I'm not a big nostalgia buff. Even though we do have a lot of history in WWE, when I go back to things like, WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania 3, the highlights, and there were some lowlights in there too.
Right.
But no, Vince is big at talking about the future.
Talk about Vince today and the change he has made over the years.
Well, I mean, this is a corporate a juggernaut now. I mean, compared to, there were 8 people over on Hollyhock Lane in Greenwich, Connecticut when I came here. We did the interviews inside this rather small, dismal office building. I'd have Hogan up against the wall and we'd have a backdrop. Matter of fact, it probably was a blue curtain.
Right.
But those were very modest beginnings. And I'm sure he was operating on a shoestring. Howard Finkel was there.
He was there from day one, right?
From day one. Jimmy Troy, Bob McMullen. I'm trying to think, of course, on the outside, Gorilla Monsoon, Arnie Skolin, a lot of the confidants, Chief Jay Strongbow as both a wrestler and an agent. So it was a very modest beginning for him.
What are your thoughts on Stephanie and Shane?
Well, since I'm big on nepotism myself, I think if they want to do it, I think they should be there. And both have showed tremendous affection for the business.
Do they have an understanding of the business?
I think they do. I really think they do. I'm impressed with both of them.
Right.
And I'm not blowing smoke because my age, I don't need to put somebody over.
Right.
If I thought they were doing a poor job, I would share those thoughts with you also. But I think Stephanie, now that she's a mom, I don't know, what kind of a role she's going to play in the company. But Shane asked something about the Madison Square Garden show and the fact that the response was so positive. I realized that he's got his head into the business.
Right.
He wants to know why. It's a good question to ask. Why? Why do things work?
Thoughts on Triple H?
I worked with him in Atlanta at WCW, and very hardworking, very conscientious.
Student of the game.
Yeah, and here's the one problem he had there. He was going nowhere. So when he had an opportunity through Shawn Michaels to come up to the WWE, I said, we're going to hate to lose you here because I thought he had great potential. He had the look. He had the look.
We're talking about Triple H and your thoughts on Triple H, and you had a sidebar comment, I think, about the family.
Well, we were talking also about Triple H and the family and how modest things were in the beginning. I recall that Hogan, myself, Vince, went over to Vince's rented house in Greenwich in his rented Lincoln Town car and sat down. And Shane was a little guy. Stephanie was littler.
Huh.
Linda was there. Linda made dinner for us. We all ate at the table, then went in and started mapping out some plans, some strategies for the future. Actually writing the shows that were going to lead into WrestleMania 1.
Wow.
So he put us up in the house, and that's the way it was done.
That's where the magic happened.
Yeah.
TitleMatchNetwork.com